Success in farming is all about precision and efficiency, ensuring every seed, every drop of water, every nutrient and treatment counts. Terraplex Ag is helping farmers all over Iowa and the Midwest do just that. With precision ag drone technology and support from Terraplex, you'll boost your productivity and make timely and informed decisions, all while reducing your costs and increasing your profit. It's time to revolutionize your farming. Harvest the benefits with Terraplex Ag. Visit terraplexag.com.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. I started playing the Heartland Flags ad instead of the Terraplex Ag to start the show. Shout out to Heartland Flags. Free 3 seconds of publicity. I'm Adam Pedersen. Sometimes I start this show a little chaotically, joined by a man who knew repetition, discipline, and no chaos while he was playing for the Hawks. It's Jordan Bohannon, and this is another episode of Making Memz.
How's it going, buddy?
I didn't know if you caught that or not.
No, I definitely did. I was saying something, but it mutes me when we're going the ad read.
I saw it. I clicked the Terraplex and it played it. Shout out to Aiden. Hope he can figure that one out at the beginning. He's got it. He's a pro. He's got it handled.
Yeah, he does.
Oh my. Well, we are coming to you from the Channel Seed Studios, recording at a different time than we normally do because Cedar Rapids got pounded yesterday. We were not able to do this in the morning like we normally do with no power and power lines down everywhere. They estimated that over 500,000 people did not have power in eastern Iowa.
It's crazy. It's weird because Northwest Iowa is like nothing happened. It just makes a huge difference. I don't know if you heard like how hot it was in eastern Iowa too yesterday. Absurd.
Oh, yeah.
Like it was crazy.
Yeah, we had that heat and stuff too. It was no storm threats really. It was kind of weird being like 94 degrees with no sunshine. Usually that means storms are coming, but it didn't happen for us. Certainly did for you guys though. One of my buddies who lives in Urbandale sent me a video of the storm. Only lasted like 5 minutes for them, 10 minutes. It was insane. Like shingles flying off roofs, a transformer blew up, trees flying everywhere, just raining sideways. 2024 special year in the state of Iowa.
It's just crazy the weather this year, all over the state of Iowa. I feel like the state of Iowa just has been hammered more than any other state this year in this summer.
Mm-hmm. Tornadoes, floods. That's all right. We're Midwest tough. We can handle it. Exciting week for both of us. I had a good time last week hanging out with my niece and nephew. They were visiting the farm. Got to do some cool things with them. You were in Atlanta, living it up on the big stage in front of screaming fans. How was that for you, pal?
Well, not fans. They're kind of fans. But...
whoops. I said that like an idiot. I meant to compare it to when you were on the big stage in front of screaming fans. Hey, but when you and your dad and brothers were on the stage, there had to have been some fans in the audience.
Oh, yeah. It was a great time. I didn't talk just because I felt like I wasn't deserving yet, but my brothers did talk for a little bit. My dad talked in front of about 48,000 people in Mercedes-Benz Dome in Atlanta. Is
fantastic.
It's a really cool experience.
So this is the second big event you've been to recently for the Primerica stuff, and the old Gord man spoke at both of them. I'm starting to think he's like a big dog when it comes to this Primerica thing.
No, he's a legend. He's been in the business for 43 years now. Pretty crazy how he got in the business as well too. His teammate, a lot of Iowa fans are listening. They know this name, Keith Chappelle. He was his wide receiver at Iowa, and they actually were both from California. He was from the inner city of California, all black. My dad was from South Pasadena, all white, and they grew to know each other through football in California growing up, and they went to the same JUCO, and they both got recruited by Hayden Fry way back in the 80s or late 70s, early 80s. Hayden Fry sold both of them a dream at the same time. They said they're both going to go back to their hometown in South Pasadena and play in the Rose Bowl, and go figure, 5 years later, was it 3 years? Well, 3 years later after that, they played in South Pasadena in their hometown, and Keith started, my dad started. It was pretty cool experience, but they both went back to California after they graduated from Iowa, and Keith spoke to my dad and said, hey, you need to listen to the business opportunity about, potentially doing this. And my dad was like, okay, what's it about? And Keith's like, well, I can't tell you right now, but we got to go back to Iowa to do this. And my dad's like, go back to Iowa? Why the hell would we go back to Iowa?
The weather here is so much nicer.
Right. So they go back to Iowa, and Keith sold my dad on a dream of starting a business in Iowa. And ever since then, I mean, if it wasn't for Keith Chappelle talking to my dad 40 plus years ago, my dad would have met my mom. We wouldn't be here in the state of Iowa. It's just pretty crazy what one person's conversation can have to someone to completely change a family's life by meeting someone and having kids and settling down in the state of Iowa. So it's pretty cool story. Keith lives in Texas now. They obviously are still great friends, but my dad has his business out of Iowa, and he has his business out of Texas. So it's pretty incredible story.
It's always crazy to think about, like, you think about your life, the relationship you have, the things you're doing in your life. Like if your dad doesn't decide to come back here, you probably don't play for the Hawks. You and I never meet if you're not in the state of Iowa. We're not doing this pod. It's kind of wild to think about all these different scenarios, but I'm glad that it's worked out the way it has so far. I'm a very happy man.
It really is when you step back from anyone's individual real life and just see the dominoes fall. And that's why I always was a big believer in just believing in the process, because God's going to take you where you need to go in life if you just believe and trust and have faith in his plan. Not to say a lot of people, but there's definitely a lot of people out there that just don't want to trust the process and don't want to believe in the hard work, or believe in what it'll take to get somewhere, or believing in just God's plan in general, what you need to where you're going to be at in a few years down the road or a decade down the road. And that's something I've always been really appreciative of, because I know when there's bad days, everyone has bad days, but they're bad for a reason, as crazy as that might seem. But they're happening for a reason. Things happen for a reason. You're going places for a reason. Everything's for a reason. That's, when I was able to have that mindset, I know you're the same way, Adam. I was really to kind of just be more relaxed in the world and take life for what it is. And that's just it's a beautiful life that we all have if we just don't take anything for granted.
Amen, brother. Amen, brother. And we're still young and got a lot of life ahead of us.
I'm still young.
Lord willing. Well, thanks for that. I mean, honestly, I'm probably half dead. It's partially true. I'm 37. Isn't the U.S. male average lifespan 75? So who knows? I might be half dead.
What was that veteran that recently passed away a few years ago? That he was like 110 or something, Adam, and he would smoke a cigar a day and have a whiskey. A straight whiskey glass, or a drink of straight whiskey every single night. I don't know. Yeah. See?
Hello.
There you go. That's what it reminded me of it.
I also like to smoke cigars.
Yeah.
Maybe I got 85 in me.
It's just funny though. There's those outliers that do all that kind of stuff, and they just live a healthy life.
So what's cooler, being in front of all those people at a Primerica thing on stage with their dad and brothers, or being in an opposing arena or March Madness or somewhere like that for a big basketball game with all the people screaming? And obviously it's two very different settings, but what was cooler for you?
Oh, that's a good question. I'm going to say probably an answer that's going to shock you, but I'm going to say the most recent.
Being up there with the dad and bros.
Exactly. I was with my family and on the same team, and all the years we've always played, obviously older on different teams, and never really played with each other on the court in basketball. There's a cool feeling being with your family on the same team and experiencing moments like that. It's really cool. I mean, you know what it's like too, because you obviously are in the business with your dad and farming, so you know what that's like. Obviously, there's bad days, there's good days, but it's very rewarding when you're able to experience success with each other.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie, it would be pretty amazing if I could just bale 2 loads of hay and do cattle chores in front of 50,000 people in an arena, so everyone could see how good I am at it. That would be kind of sick. I'm not gonna lie.
I would watch,
because I don't want to toot my own horn, but I'm pretty sure I'm top 10 nationally going on a decade and a half now. Hay baler. I'm just good at it. There's no doubt. There's just no way to say it other than I'm good at it. I'm great at it, actually.
Are you better than the guy that has the farm in by Terrell that had the excellent hay stacking that I sent you last?
Well, here's the deal. I'm talking square bales on a rack.
Ooh.
Square baling. That guy has an unmatched stack of round bales. I've seen it. It's almost romantic. But when it comes to square bales, I'm the GOAT.
I've never seen anything like that.
We got to get you to the farm one of these days, though, for real.
I know.
I'd love to have you come do a load of hay with me and have one of my friends out there recording it for a YouTube video. It'd be awesome.
And I would love to do some random chores on the farm.
Yep. So over the weekend, my weekend, I was at a camp called Hidden Acres. It's in Dayton, Iowa, about smack dab in the middle of the state, really. And it's awesome. It's the camp for the Central District of the EFCA, the Evangelical Free Church of America. And we go there every year. We have a weekend camp for our church family. And it's we do worship music. And I'm usually on the worship team for that. I help lead a skit. We always do a funny skit based on what we're teaching in the Bible at that time. And there's like a lake with a blob. Do you know what a blob is? I could send you to the freaking moon. I could send your flying.
The thing that's in I know what you're talking about.
The inflatable where one person's on the end, another person jumps on.
Yeah.
They got one of those there, and I am famous within the Hidden Acres camp of being the guy you want to blob you if you got the stones for it, because I will send you high in the air.
Can people die from that?
I mean, you could probably land wrong and die. I mean, I don't get you that high, but there was a couple kids in the last couple of years that wanted me to do it. I checked with their parents. I said, "Are you sure?" Because they're going to go high, and they could land wrong, and it could hurt. And they're like, "Yep." And so I launched on one girl, landed like straight on her side. She was really mad at me for a while. But you know what? You're the one who wanted it. It's a risk you take. This year, I absolutely launched this kid named Tyler. He's like 10 years old or something, landed on his face. He was like crying, saying how much he liked it while he was crying and in pain, trying to swim out of the lake. It was hilarious. But they have that there and a water slide and all sorts of fun stuff. And it's so cool. And what I love about it, and I'm going to use this to transition into us talking about something a little more serious. What I love about it is that we have people in our church body who differ politically. We have people in our church body who, honestly, like when it comes to even like thoughts about theology, some of us even differ with our theology. But the one thing we all agree on is the truth of the gospel, that Christ died for us because we needed redemption and forgiveness because we're sinners, and God sent his son to the cross for us, the ultimate sacrifice, the greatest act of love there ever could be. And we all agree on that base principle, even though we differ in other areas. And that is what I just think our world is lacking in so much. So over the weekend, we all know about it, the attempted assassination on former president and current candidate Donald Trump. And our world is just so nuts right now. And we call ourselves in the Pledge of Allegiance, one nation under God. Like on the dollar bill, it says, "In God we trust." And we're getting so far away. And I'm not going to try to sound preachy. I don't want people to get all annoyed because I'm going down this path. But we are a nation that needs to come together. It's getting out of control. Like how much our division is, our hate. And if people if they just could feel the joy and happiness to have a relationship with Christ that it brings you, and how you can get past your differences with other people when you all have that common base core principle, it's indescribable. Like, and people are going to be like, "Adam, you've said some crazy stuff on this podcast. You've told some crazy stories." Exactly. None of us are perfect. We're all sinners. There's only one true perfect person who's ever lived, and it was Jesus, who died on that cross for us. And because he did that for us, we can sin and be forgiven. And I've done and said some stupid, crazy things, and I've been changed. My heart has been molded to be a better person as I deepen in my faith with Christ. And man, that's why I just like when people come at us on social media or something like that, I just laugh. I like to reply with maybe like a funny, sarcastic comment. I don't care. I think it's hilarious because I'm so secure in who I am because of my relationship that I have with the Lord. And I just think so many people out there need to seek him, need to read the Bible, need to understand like there is true happiness and there's true joy found in knowing your Savior. And man, if they could just understand what a great, exciting, happy relationship that could be, how much better and happier their lives could be, and how much better and happier this country could be. But that's my take on it is, man, we have gotten so divided, and it finally came to a head like that, that I just think we are a country that desperately needs to seek Jesus. And I'm speaking for me. I'm not speaking for you. I'm not speaking for Williams, Hassel, anybody else on this network. I'm speaking only for me. I don't want them to think like, oh, geez, his views represent Iowa everywhere. I'm speaking only on behalf of Adam Pedersen, myself. This is how I feel, but it's also what I very truly and believe that if we all sought that out, we would just be, it's just even down times in life, man, when you have, like you said earlier, like things are happening for a reason. Christ is guiding my life according to his will, and that it's okay if things aren't perfect right now. It has a purpose. And I've had those moments. I've gone through some horrible, dark times in my life, but I've seen where they've led me now to being so incredibly happy and full of joy. And it's because I have that relationship and I can see how he was using me in those dark times to be happier now. And that's why I just think we are a world that desperately needs to turn to Jesus, because the more we push him out of our schools and out of our lives and out of the public, the worse it gets, buddy.
You hit the nail on the head. No, that was a great. I mean, I couldn't say it any better than how you had a response to everything that's going on. My beliefs are the exact same. You know, we talk about all the time. When you start putting God farther and farther down your priority list, that's when things start getting way more chaotic, and you start losing sight of what's ultimately most important. And that's where we're going to be headed after all this craziness is said and done in this little world that we live in.
Mm-hmm.
And I just think, you know, I don't want to get too political. I know we talked before the show. I don't want to, say anything bad about either side, but anytime you're wishing death on someone, another human being like that, is where I started drawing a line in a lot of situations. And not saying I had any friends or anyone close, or even a lot of people, even I heard about that, but I know there was some that
Mm-hmm.
were wishing, that.
Mm-hmm.
And, you can hate someone all you want, but at the end of the day, we're all humans. And especially, I mean, I don't know if you saw what Melania said. Her statement was just absolutely beautiful and just epitomizes exactly what it means to, be an American. And especially her coming from a different country. What's really funny, Adam, and I'm going to go on a little tangent,
Mm-hmm.
not shift topics drastically, but I have a lot of friends and a lot of people I know that are from different parts of the world, and they came here in America and they
Mm-hmm.
became citizens. And how, if you ever have, if there's anyone ever in your life that's not appreciative of America, just go talk to some of those people that have came to America and how much they appreciate they're not entitled, but they're grateful for what has been, this great country of America has formed through all the years and all the crap that we've been through. Yes, we've had dark times, every country has, but I really believe the point where we're at now as a society, I know this is a weird time to say it, but we're so better off than what we were 50 plus years ago.
Mm-hmm.
And I would just hate that, we were 1 inch away from a totally different world and society again. And, that still didn't change much, that it was still avoided from the assassination. But, just the fact that, I know politicians can be corrupt. A lot of them are, but at the end of the day, there's families, there's kids involved. There's, there's wives involved. There's their own lives involved. And
Mm-hmm.
I loved what Conor McGregor said. And I'm not saying I'm leaning one way or the other, but you have a guy like that's coming into politics. He didn't need to do this. He didn't need to be president. He was a billionaire that had, almost everything, pretty much everything you could ever want in life. And he came to, think about, hopefully doing something great for the country. And regardless of your political views, you can hate one candidate or the other. You can hate Joe Biden the same way, but you at least have to appreciate them being a person and them, wanting to try to do something great for the country, whether you disagree with it or not. That's not the most important thing. And I don't know. I just hope we don't get too caught up in, going down this route, because I think there are a lot of good people in the world. There are a lot of good people that we have friends as that they don't agree with everything that you're going to have to say or that you have an opinion on. But that's what Jesus lived for, is our ability to do that. And, I just don't want to go down the line where we completely just ruin this whole world just because we have a few people that just don't believe within politics or but the religion part is so huge. I agree. Like the only thing I'll ever really get into politics is that whole idea of getting away from God in schools and as children and preaching the word of the Lord. That is so important for people that are growing up to experience that, because if they're not guided the right way when they're little and experiencing the right things that they should and start forming a relationship with God, this world's in danger. And my mind is, if you have kids in this world, you should know that you want a better future for them. And that starts with the parents and instilling those values into them. And I don't know, that's one of the lines I'll always cross, because I think that's just so important for people to develop that relationship in some capacity. It doesn't have to be, Catholicism, it doesn't have to be Protestant, it doesn't have to be Lutheran, it doesn't have to be, Judaism, whatever it is. At least have some relationship where, there's something after this life that you need to be preparing for.
Yeah, for sure. And while you were talking, it reminded me of one more note I wanted to speak on. Is I know a lot of my friends personally. I've seen other people publicly, people with big followings, talk about Christianity, religion, how it left a sour taste in their mouth when they moved to an area of the country that was predominantly quote unquote Christian or religious, and they saw abuse of that and it turned their family away from it, or they experienced it themselves. And I will fully acknowledge that's a thing that's happening. There's a lot of people that profess to be Christians that are abusing the gospel, that are not living according to how God lived and how he wants us to live as Christians. But I would encourage people, and I know as Christians, we have a higher standard. It's just the way it is. And it should be, because when we profess that in our life, we are also ourselves trying to live at a higher standard to be a more moral person like Christ did. But I would encourage people not to take bad experiences they've had with Christians who have maybe abused the gospel, struggled with that, and left a bad taste in someone's mouth, to have it push them away and not seek it themselves and give it a chance. Because just like every business, every organization, everything you encounter in life, and churches and Christianity are included in that, there's going to be bad apples no matter where you go and what you do. I've had a bad experience with an iPhone before. I'm not going to just stop using Apple iPhones. That's a kind of a silly comparison, but I'm just trying to make sense of what I'm trying to say, is that you're going to have bad experiences, but we're all sinners. We all fail and fall short. And don't let one bad experience you have with someone who claims to have God or religion at the center of their life push you away from seeking that and dividing this world even more. Because you know what? They're at a time where they're struggling and things aren't going well. They're not using it properly, the gospel that they profess to believe in. But there's going to be bad people in every organization. Christianity is included in that. You just have to seek out the truth for yourself and make your own decisions, and don't let someone else's bad decision affect your life and guide your life. Seek it yourself and make a decision for yourself. Me personally, I know that I'm a terrible example at times of Christ and what I believe in, but you know what? I get forgiveness and redemption from him, and I'm going to try every day to still love on you, be a good person. Hopefully my joy and personality shows what I believe in, but I would just encourage people not to have one bad experience push them away forever and denounce it forever, because it is, at the end of the day, what matters most and what we need at the end of our life when we all face judgment.
It's really crazy to think about just how minuscule we really are, with all the problems, all the shit that we have been through individually and as a country and the world. Just think about bigger picture, it's just crazy to just how minuscule all of our individual actions are compared to relatively just through the whole universe. I mean, we were just talking how fitting as we were just talking about full circle events really in the beginning of the podcast. Just every kind of action leads to a reason down the road of why that happened, or a reason, why you decided to do that. There's always meaning behind everything. So, I mean, not to get, pushy on religion, but it's just a huge factor. And you always have to put the human factor into life. I always have said that to, anyone there's disagreements with. Like, not every single person you talk to is going to be 100% like you. That's the whole point of why we were created, is everyone is so unique in their own ways that, we should be accepting of that. Obviously there's boundaries with all that. Obviously, like you said, there's bad apples in anything you do. There's people that divert the route way farther than they should. But I've always truly believed that most people you meet and talk to, they are ultimately have a good, they ultimately are good. And it's just us trying to, realize that, all the crazy and chaotic stuff that has occurred and will continue to occur. I always think that's just another being just trying to divide us even more. Someone higher that, the more we go down that route, the worse we're going to get. And I think, like I said, just believing in your internal, beliefs, whatever they are, you can never go wrong.
Yep. All right. Well, that was a good discussion. Every now and then we got to get serious on this thing, buddy.
Yeah, I know those are always hard though, because even how great of a dialogue and conversation. This is what I hate though. Even how great of a dialogue and conversation that just was. People will take one sentence that one of us just said and will completely blow it out proportion to someone they're going to talk to. It's just that's a one pet peeve of mine. I was like, I not to relate it back to me selfishly, but the amount of interviews I did at Iowa when I said one thing that had people just took a little clip of it. I'm like, no, did you listen to anything we just said for the last 25 minutes?
Oh, man. Well, that's how it goes. All we can do is respond with love. And I'm talking to myself when I say that.
But is it like anything we said, like, is that just crazy? Is it like, that was such a beautiful conversation dialogue we had. Like,
that's the power of media, man.
I know.
And honestly, I feel like we live in a world where it's easier to seek negativity and gossip, overhear someone out, and maybe sit down and say, hey, I want to hear more and get to know them more, build a relationship and a common respect. We live in a world where it's more fun to judge and gossip, and Satan, he uses that in the world and makes it enjoyable to people when it just tears the world down and makes things worse. And I don't know. It's how it goes. But anybody who comes at me for what I say, just know that I'd give you a big bear hug and want to share a Pedersen steak with you in person.
A nice cold beer.
Yes, sir. All right. NCAA 25. NCAA 25. It's out of control. It's everywhere on social media. All my friends are buying it. Everyone's going back to the glory days of playing it. I myself have given up on video games probably forever. I'm not into it, but it's exciting to see everyone excited about it. I want to know, did you play it back in the day? The last one was 14. So 10 years ago, you would have been in high school still. So you probably would have had 4 or 5 years there where you were maybe playing some NCAA football.
Oh, talk about video games. Like, it's really sad to say this, but like Call of Duty.
I loved Call of Duty. It's okay, buddy.
So, like, when did Call of Duty 4 come out? Like 20.
Ooh. Like 13, maybe? I don't know.
Yeah, it was like right around when the PS3 came out.
Yeah.
And this is really bad, but I remember people that were Call of Duty fans. When 4 came out, I got really, really upset. And this is going to lead back to in-state football in a second, I promise. But I got really obsessed with Call of Duty 4. And you said you played Call of Duty, right?
Oh, yeah. Loved it.
You can, if you remember, people that remember back in the days, I think they still have it too, but you can go on your career stats and look up time played, KD, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
I remember when Modern Warfare 2 came out, and I look back. Modern Warfare 2 was just as bad too, by the way. But
Legendary game.
Yeah, a great game. And I look back on Call of Duty 4, right when I made the transition to Modern Warfare 2. I look at my stats. I had 65 days played.
Lord have mercy.
Like that's 24 hours. 65
That's unhealthy.
that I played that game.
That's too much.
And I'm like, I'm what? I'm 6th, 7th grade.
Safe to say you weren't really talking to girls.
Oh, I didn't do anything. I went to the gym and I played Call of Duty. That's literally what I did.
Oh man, living the junior hires dream.
Oh, it was bad. Like, I remember staying up late nights.
Oh my gosh.
I would have to turn the video games off.
65 days is a lot. That's so much.
Oh, I know. And Modern Warfare 2 was up there too. And then Black Ops came out and I played so much zombies. Like,
yes.
I remember a snowstorm where I don't think I slept for 3 days. I literally just stared at my screen for 3 days.
Dude, that was okay. So me and my buddy, I didn't get into Call of Duty until after college. So me and a good friend at home, I set up when I moved home from college, I set up my parents' basement. I cleaned it up and cleaned out an area. And I put my futon from college down there, some end tables with TVs on them, carpet. And we just sat down there and we started calling the futon the farton. And we just sat down there and played video games all the time. We were also like at the age where we were playing golf and bowling league and stuff like that. So not 65 days a lot, but we played a lot. And me and my buddy and 4 other friends, we'd play all the time. We called ourselves the 712 Mafia because that's our area code. We were all from Alta, and we'd get on and play on as a team, and we just destroyed people. We were so good, just a well-oiled machine. But I remember it was so easy to not get tired playing that game because you're so juiced up, and all of a sudden you look at the clock and it's like 4:15 in the morning. You're like, whoa, I'm an adult right now. I have to go to work in 2.5 hours. Today technically is gonna stink at work.
We had a clan tag. I'm glad you brought that up. We had a clan tag, and of course, me being a complete psycho that I was in middle school, I created the clan. It was called LE4D, like lead. I don't know why, but that's what we did. And we would, I kid you not, dude, we would have tryouts for people just to put that in their clan.
You got to be kidding me.
I swear to God. And yes. how it would work, the person with the highest KD at the time, and if anyone wanted to join, they had to go face that guy in 1v1 on the video game for them just to type the LE4D in their clan tag.
That's amazing. Oh my gosh, you guys went next level. But you wanted to make sure you didn't stink. You got to have the best.
I was pretty good. I'm not gonna lie. But anyway, to make the transition, I came in, like, it was like freshman, sophomore year. I still play Call of Duty, obviously, but I got heavy into the NBA 2K and college football games.
Yeah.
And I played those I remember there was one NCAA football game that there was a glitch in the game because you could start playing online. It was one of the first online games. One of the first time NCAA football came out that they had the online version to play 1v1 against someone. And there was a glitch where if you ran a whole Hail Mary play and you tapped R2 to pump fake, or R1, whatever it was, you could tap it real quick and the quarterback would go like this, and the cornerbacks and the safeties would start running towards the quarterback. So your guys would be wide open, all 4 of them in the end zone. And I was a little cheater. I did that every time online. I don't think I lost the game online.
Oh my gosh. Oh, I love it, man. Some good times. Me and a buddy would create people from around like Alta in our hometown, and people who had come before us and after us in high school that were just absolutely terrible at football. We would create them in the game and make them like the recruits that we tried to get on the Hawkeyes when we played with the Hawkeyes in dynasty mode. And we would make them like terrible, like 48 rating here and there. And we would recruit them to get them to Iowa. And then it was our mission to make them into All-Americans and win national titles with them. And like kids in high school that were like 5'8", 300, we'd make them that size and have them at starting guard in the Big Ten for the Hawks. And oh my gosh, it was just so much fun. Great memories. I would encourage all the guys out there and girls, there might be some girls who love it too, But guys out there who are all excited about it coming back, please just make sure you put your spouse and your family and your children, whoever it may be, first. Do not let this game take over your life. We don't need this game leading to broken relationships because you get so invested in it that you neglect the things that truly matter in life.
Well said. Because if I put 65 days into the Call of Duty now, I would
Carly's gone.
I'm not gonna lie, I still played my fair share of Call of Duty in the last year,
but not to the point where she's banging on the door saying, "Excuse me, I matter too."
Well, she did that in college when we played Fortnite. So I kind of forgot about Fortnite in college.
Did Philip play any of the video games? I just picture this giant was he Serbian?
Yeah, he was Serbian.
I just picture this giant Serbian coming to the door, like saying, "Leave us alone," and it being very intimidating.
Well, Ryan was the one that I lived with.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
Yeah, but Ryan kind of looks Serbian too.
Yeah, he's tall. Craner always kind of had that like Blink-182 emo look. Like he was a tall Blink-182 member.
You know what's funny? He's been in Japan he's going to come in is it going to be his third year? Yeah. He's going back for his third year and to play. And it's funny because he comes back and we joke with him. This isn't meant to be, mean towards any population at all. So I don't want anyone to take it like this, but because he's over there, he gets his haircut and he kind of already looks a little Japanese.
He did have a little Japanese look.
Yes. And every year he comes back, we say he's getting a little closer away from American because he starts getting more of that haircut. He starts, it's just funny. It's really, really funny. When
That's great.
I just saw him for the first time again in a few months, a couple weeks ago. And yeah, it's a good time.
Oh, I love that. Well, we'll have to have him on the pod sometime and ask him about it. Have him give us the top 5 barbershops in Japan.
I had him on a pod 2 years ago. You'll think this is hilarious. When I did a podcast during COVID, and I'm not exaggerating. We tried to start the pod for about 45 minutes, and we could not do the intro because we were laughing so damn hard.
Oh, we got to have him on.
Oh, I know. Yeah, we will. He is. We have some good times together.
Oh man, good stuff. All right, boy, we chatted a long time. I want to get to the Ag Minute and then one more thing for sure, and then we'll see if time allows after that to get to other stuff. But this Ag Minute, as always, powered by Terraplex Ag. As you heard in the intro, they are the top dog, #1 for drone technology in farming, and honestly, outside of farming, there could be jobs where you need a drone. Terraplex has got what you need. They have different sizes of drones to meet your needs and capacity for what's going to get the job done for you. So check out Terraplex Ag. I'm hoping in the future to do a kind of a demo day on the farm. Maybe we'll get Jabo there, have a little meet and greet while we do a demo day with Terraplex Ags and spray some cows and some corn and stuff out there. So I'm excited for that. But in the meantime, go check out their website. See how they can help you with their drones. Terraplex Ag, wonderful sponsors and supporters of this podcast. All right. I have another cow thing to educate you on what it's like to be a cattle farmer at times. So I got a cow right now, and this is not the first time this has happened. This is probably the 100th time this has happened to me in like 10 years. It has mastitis. So what mastitis is that after it has its calf, it'll get like a bacterial infection in its body, and it causes the milk to be kind of pink and red, have blood in it. So it causes bloody milk. Sometimes it gets so bad that the milk gets like thick consistency and this comes out like you could just try to squirt the udder out and it would just be a straight line of like thick white pus looking stuff coming out. It's horribly disgusting. So I had the cat. It had a calf probably about a week and a half ago. Calf's looking kind of skinny, not great. I'm like, I got to get the cow in the head gate, see if it's got something going on, because if it's getting good milk, the calf shouldn't be like this. Sure enough, we start squeezing the teats. Bloody milk is coming out. So I call the vet. Well, first of all, I have to give it a shot of something, but it has to go behind the ear. If you've ever tried to get a 1,600-pound angry animal a shot behind the ear, just let me know. It's almost physically impossible. We have to tie a rope around it, like make a halter, and then tie that to the head gate to try to get it to stop smashing its head all over the place. And there's like a teeny little, like 2 centimeter fleshy spot behind the ear where you have to give this shot. So I have to do that. And then the vet comes out. What he does, we milk a bunch of the bad milk out, and then he takes this syringe looking thing and you shoot it up into each nipple through the hole, and you inject something up in there. It's like a little tube that slowly like dissolves and puts like medicine essentially up there that hopefully gets the milk going and takes the bacteria out. And then within a few days, hopefully you've got good milk again. But the whole time the vet was there, I was like, man, I wish Jabo was here to watch this. He would just be fascinated by this right now. So that we had to do that with a cow. Hopefully in a couple of days, the milk's good to go and the calf will start getting some good milk and not die, because the calf's not looking so hot right now.
So they what do you mean they inject it into the tit? Like what do you mean? Like
he takes this white tube looking thing and he literally wipes off the edge of the cow's nipple. This cow has they don't all have the same number. This one has 6 nipples on its milk bag, and he like pinches it and the hole opens a little bit and he actually shoves this thing up into the hole of the nipple and injects this stuff up in there. And then it gets up through the nipples and into the milk bag and starts doing its magic and hopefully getting rid of the bacteria and making the milk good again. Because the end of a cow's nipple it almost looks like a little slit that you'd make like with a knife. And when the calf sucks on the nipple, it opens that, and that's what brings the milk out into the calf's mouth. I guess the human female nipple probably works the same way when they have a baby.
That's interesting and really gross.
It is. Yeah, there's a big old pile of just pink Pepto-Bismol looking milk sitting underneath the cow after we squeeze each tit out for a while before injecting the stuff into it. It's especially disgusting when you go to squeeze it out and it's like the pussy stuff. I'm gagging when that happens. It's very gross. But now you and thousands of other people listening to this podcast know what mastitis is.
Mastitis sounds like a STD.
Well, I guess it could be from one of my bulls, and only so many cows get it. You never know. But there's your Ag Minute for the day. Some more cow education. Every day is an adventure with cattle and animals. You never know what it's going to be. People, there's a lot more to farming than just driving a tractor back and forth in a field.
You never cease to amaze me on your Ag Minute stories.
It seems to be never ending stories that just present themselves always.
You do a good job describing them. I'll give you that.
Well, I hope people could understand the visual, and if not, I'll try to take a video next time, and maybe we can get Aiden and I, wherever, to repost the video for all of our followers to see.
I think having stories like that and actually seeing the behind the scenes of what you're talking about, like you just even talking like you do in the upper right corner, and you're just explaining the whole video that's occurring, would be a really, really great video.
That could be entertaining. Oh, man.
So this is where the white syringe goes up the cow tit.
Yep.
That's
cow just stood there calm as can be, so it must not be painful. She just stood there the whole time, not really even moving. I mean, she did not like trying to get the shot behind the ear, but when the vet was doing all that stuff down there, because sometimes they're kicking and trying to stomp on you, she just stood there. Super nice. Good girl. So there you go.
Never, I'm not going to ask that question.
All right. Sleep on it. All right. I know you got to get going soon, so I want to talk about this next topic. Then if you have to get going before I'm done, maybe I can finish with a few things. All right. The Olympics are right around the corner, so I just wanted to touch on a few former Hawks and Clones and Iowans, native Iowans in general, who are in the Olympics and representing this fine state and hopefully going to go show out and be awesome. But I didn't write down every single one of them. I just wrote down some of the more notable ones. This first one, I'd never heard of this guy. This is crazy. His name is Kenny Bednarik. He runs track or ran track at Indian Hills Community College. Ever heard of it?
Great community college. A lot of athletes come out of there. Yeah.
Yep. So I'm assuming he was probably a big time. This isn't me trying to like take a shot at him. He was probably, to be this good, he was probably a big time recruit out of high school. Couldn't quite make it work at a D1, so he had to go here. Kenny Bednarik, though, he's going to compete in both the 100 and 200 for Team USA.
Wait. The guy from Indian, he's from Iowa, or did he go to Indian Hills?
He went. I don't think he's from Iowa. He went to Indian Hills, though.
Okay. Well, that surprised me.
Yeah, first, I think they said first JUCO person to ever run from Iowa to ever run in the Olympics. He's going to run the 200 and the 100. His 200 qualifying time was 19:59. That's probably about what I run my 100 in. His 100 qualifying time was 9:87, which is insane. Dude, USA, by the way, USA men's 1, 2, and 4 and 8, we are freaking stacked for the next decade. We have absolute studs ranging from 16 to like 21 years old right now. We are going to dominate for the next 3 Summer Olympics. I'm so freaking hyped about it. I can't wait to watch Jamaica just eat our dust in all the relays and individual races. J-Bo, I'm telling you, this is the most stacked the sprinters have ever been for Team USA. We are loaded, buddy.
Dumb question, but is Usain Bolt still competing?
Nope, done. Yep, he's done. So, Kenny Bednarik, shout out to him, Indian Hills Community College. How about Carissa Schweitzer? She's from Dowling Catholic, competed, let's see here. I think she went to Missouri. So she went to Missouri out of Dowling. She was a 6-time national champion in college, which is crazy. 6-time between indoor and outdoor national champion. She's going to run both the 5,000 meter and the 10,000 meter at the Olympics. She ran the 10,000 meter in 2021, 12th place finish. So shout out to her, Dowling alum, representing the state of Iowa. Hope she goes and absolutely kills it.
What's that girl's name?
Carissa Schweitzer.
Carissa Schweitzer?
Yep, from Dowling Catholic. All right, we got Brittany Brown. She is a Hawkeye, ladies and gentlemen. She placed second in the women's 200 during the Olympic track and field trials. She secured her spot with a 21.9, 26th Olympian from the University of Iowa, and the first one since Kaneki Alexander qualified in 2016. Anyway, it doesn't matter. Emily Delaman, rowing. She's from Davenport, your neck of the woods. She rowed for Stanford, was an All-American there in 19 and 20. She's going to be rowing for Team USA. How does someone go from Davenport to college and be good at rowing? There's obviously not rowing in Iowa.
Well, University of Iowa's rowing.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, but like in high school, there's not. But maybe these people go out and just do it on their own, and then when they go to college and get taught how to do it, they're really good.
Well,
Yeah.
I know. Yeah, I don't. Yeah.
You ever hear of Bridget Carleton? She played for Iowa State. I don't ever remember her. She was a Big 12 Player of the Year at Iowa State, a stud. Still plays in the WNBA. She's going to be playing for Canada. Former Cyclone player there. So shout out to Bridget Carleton. I'm going to skip some because I know you got to get going. Did you ever play against George Condit? Was he at Iowa State when you were at Iowa?
Yes.
Shout out to him. He's going to be playing for Puerto Rico. He's been playing a vital role for them as a post player for Puerto Rico. Played for the Cyclones, bounced around the G League and overseas some here and there. Some incoming Hawkeye gymnasts, all from Canada. 3 of them are going to be doing gymnastics for Team Canada. And I wanted to end with your guy, your teammate of 1 year, Peter Jock, who made the Olympics for, I believe, South Sudan.
Yep.
I remember hearing him on a podcast once talk about how badly he wanted this, how much he was training for it. He finally made it happen. Peter Jock is going to be playing in the Olympics. I'd love to hear your thoughts on that, your time playing with Pete, and just your feelings about him being an Olympian.
Well, he was.
I think you played with him, right?
Yeah. Yep.
Okay.
My first year. He was really one of the guys that really took me under his wing and taught me the ropes of how to play it at that high level. Phenomenally gifted. I don't think people realize how good he was. Like in high school, first off, he was I think he was the top recruit for most of high school. Then he had some knee injuries.
Big time.
Yeah, but he came to college. I mean, he was an absolute killer his last year. I mean, so skilled. He worked his butt off. He was arguably one of the strongest guys I've been around too. Like he was so built, body wise, and just how he's been able to transfer his body after everything that he was going through with injuries. But yeah, happy for Pete. I talked to him last year a little bit. He came to Iowa Wolves game and he sat courtside. We caught up and texted a few times. But he's always been a really close friend and
Love it.
He's experienced a lot in his life. So to have him represent his country, I know that means a lot for him.
Yeah. I'm so happy for the guy. Just hearing that, I mean, I love him as a former Hawk, obviously, but then when I heard his story more on that podcast, he's got a crazy story, man. He experienced things as a child that people normally don't go through and honestly can't ever really comprehend experiencing. He was a freaking stud as a Hawk, and I was shocked that he didn't. I thought honestly he'd have like a good solid 10-year NBA career. It's not how it always goes sometimes, but he's still been working his butt off, and it's all culminated here with an Olympic berth. So hopefully he gets to play a few games there. I'm very excited for him. I'm going to be tuning in to watch his games just so I can see him play. But super pumped for him. I know you are, Fran. All the former people that he was with in Iowa City are pumped for Pete.
Yeah, everyone loves Pete. I haven't really met a lot of people that have ever said anything bad about him, and he's a good dude, really good friend, and I have nothing but great things to say about him.
Right on. All right, I'm gonna end with this, then we'll leave so you can go. Your former team, the Wolves. I'm going to call them your former team, even though it's the NBA squad, playing the 76ers preseason game in Des Moines.
Really?
Did you see that?
Wow.
The Wolves versus the Sixers in Des Moines, preseason game, Wells Fargo. And because all I ever think about is podcasts and content, my first thought was we somehow got to manage a way to get in there and do some podcasts and go to the game.
I didn't know that. I didn't know they were doing that.
Yep. Luka's going to be back in Des Moines. It would be fun to go see him, chat with him. I know a guy who might know him. His name's Jordan Bohannon. So, yeah, it's just going to be a great experience. I bet there's going to be a ton of former Hawk fans there to see Luka play and the Wolves, and that's exciting. I've never seen an NBA game. I'd love to go to it, even if it is preseason. I would love to see the freak athletes. I think it would be an amazing experience. So that's going to be cool for Des Moines and Wells Fargo and all that. So good stuff there.
Sometimes I feel like Luka's like a not human to me because he's in the NBA, but I realize how close we are. So
yeah, he's playing. Isn't he playing for Bosnia in the Olympics? I think I heard that he's playing for Bosnia.
I should know this. I think he is. He should be, right?
Yeah, because he's got the descent from his, I don't know, both parents or his mom or something. So exciting stuff. Also, I forgot to mention Tyrese Halliburton and Spencer Lee, also in the Olympics. So exciting stuff there. A lot of Iowa connections in the Olympics. But let's go to that game. Let's find a way to go to the game. And if I have to run on the court to get someone's attention, I will. That'll probably be the end of us ever podcasting together because you won't want to be seen with me.
Close on, though.
Yep. Close on. Yep. All right. That was a fun episode, buddy. Always love chatting with you, even if it's about more serious stuff. I love talking about that stuff with you. So check out Channel C, Terraplex Ag, all of our sponsors. Obviously, the Iowa Events Center and Wells Fargo Arena going to be hosting that game, and they also host a ton of other fun activities. So check them out. That's all I got. You have any closing thoughts, my friend?
Love each other. Be there for each other. Hug your mom. Hug your dad. Tell people around you that you love them. It goes a long ways.
Yep. Couldn't have said it better myself. All right. Until next time, we're just going to keep making Memz. We'll see you next week.